Real quick, giving all praises to Yahweh Hashem Al Shai Bashem Kakwadash. Shalom to the 144,000, the rest of the elect out there. Shalom to you all. Anyway, I'm going to entitle this video, this is from Psalm 58, the 3rd verse. It said, "They go astray as soon as they are born, speaking lies." Vocab Malone is a liar. So let me read this from the top to the chief musician. What is this? Al Tekchi, whatever. Mextem of David. "Do ye indeed speak righteousness, O congregation? Do ye judge uprightly, O ye sons of men? Yeah, in heart ye work wickedness, ye weigh the violence of your hands in the earth." This applies to Esau. He's in the power. This is the nation that's in the power seat. The wicked. Now, depending on what verse you come across, and you see the word wicked, for example, if you go to Ezekiel, it mentions the wicked as being Israelites. Other parts of the scriptures, when it mentions the wicked, it's talking. I'm trying to give you a good example. The earth is given to the hands of the wicked. That's talking about Esau. This the elite of Esau. So you just can't pull out a precept and say wicked, and this means that you got to go and you got to deal with the context. It says, if the wicked restore the pledge, I believe that's in, I know it's in Ezekiel. I don't know if it's Ezekiel 30 and 15. You know what I got to do? Let me go to that. Hadn't gone through it in a while. Let me try Ezekiel 30 and 15. So wait for it to pop up. Okay, let me try Ezekiel. I'll try it one more way. Let me go Ezekiel 33:15. Okay, I got it. Ezekiel 33:15. This is in the NIV. If they give back what they took and pledge for a loan, return what they have stolen, follow the decrees that give life and do no evil, that person will surely live. They will not die. Now this is talking about an Israelite that goes off against their neighbor, that if they repent of it, restore the pledge, restore the stolen thing, whatever trespass they did, they could be saved. This has nothing to do with the so-called white man. Let me go into that in the King James, and the original one where they used to teach that's talking about the white. Everything he can be saved. So this is in King James version, KJV. If the wicked, this is talking about Israelites, restore the pledge, give again that he had robbed, walked in the statutes of life without committing iniquity, he shall surely live, he shall not die. So now, so let's come back over here. Yea, in heart ye work wickedness. It's talking about the so-called white man, Edomites. Ye weigh the violence of your hands in the earth, because you have the superior weapons to take over nations. But now the nations are saying, that's in a couple of places. That's in Joel I believe that's also Isaiah 14 and Isaiah 13, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not going to go to it. It said the wicked, Esau, are estranged from the womb. They go astray as soon as they are born, speaking lies. Their poison is like the poison of a serpent. They are like the deaf adder that stoppeth the ear. So when you're talking to vocab and you tell him, he says, well, if you go, for example, Galatians 3, verse 28, it said the Jews, and then it mentions the Greeks. And we told him on countless times, numerous times that the Greeks are talking about Israelites. It's a generic term for Israelites that lost their way. They got caught up. Their foreparents, their fathers, their grandfathers, great-great-grandfathers, they got caught up with Antiochus Epiphanes, where they forced him to follow the Greek ways and not to call himself Israelites. He does say the word Jews. So they taught their children that, so they didn't know that they were Israelites. It says, which will not hearken to the voice of charmers, charming ever so wisely. So the main point is, which is the topic, they go astray as soon as they are born, speaking lies. So now I'm going to show you something. Like I said, I'm going to make this short. Okay, so this was just put up. It was an hour ago. It says only Israel had iron yoke on neck. Jeremiah 28 and 14. Well, we never said that. If a nation took down other nations, whether they took down Israel or whether they took down other nations, if they use yokes of iron and chains, they would use it on all of their enemies. So it wasn't just Israel, but we used in Deuteronomy 28, you start from the 47 verse on down, actually start from the 43rd verse on down. It speaks about yoke of iron about his neck. That's talking about Israelites. Now in Jeremiah 28, it's talking about the Israelites and whatever other nation that was taking it down. And when you go into the history, it was the Syrians. They took down the Syrians, which were neighbors, which were north of Palestine. So they put them in yokes. They didn't put, look, the Babylonians, King Nebuchadnezzar II, not the first, the second, he was the guy that's mentioned in Daniel chapter 2 and Daniel chapter 7. So he didn't take down the Edomites because the Edomites were encouraging them to take these Edomites down, to burn the Israelites down, to burn down the Jerusalem, to raise it. And they were behind it. That's in the Apocrypha. I believe that's first Ezra 4, if I'm not mistaken. Like I said, I'm not going to go to it, but make this short. But it's also in, it's mentioned in Psalms 130, was that 138? 138, 137, 137 in verse 8. Raise it even to the foundation thereof. It was talking about the Jerusalem being destroyed. And he was saying, there goes some of them Israelites over there. Obadiah 1, from the first verse 10 on down. He reminds them what they did. Like I said, I'm not going to go into that either. So this serpent right here is trying to pull a fast one on these guys over here, and they wasn't ready to deal with this situation. Because we always say yoke of iron. We never said it was only Israel, but The fulfillment of a yoke of iron upon thy neck is talking about every time that Israel went into captivity under the nations, and mainly over here in America. That's why when you go to Google and you put yoke of iron or yoke of iron on the neck, what will come up is Deuteronomy 28, what is that, 47 or thereabouts. And you would have images of Jake in over here in the Americas with yokes of iron upon their neck. So of course it happened more than once, and it happened to other nations too. If the Romans, if they put yokes of iron around all their people and they enslaved the nations round about them, which they never did. They only enslaved the gladiators. There was a certain class of slavery in the Roman Empire. They were tribute to the Romans, meaning you pay a tax, we're not going to mess with you. Okay? So this guy runs to Jeremiah 28 and 14, and he breaks it. I don't know what version he's using, but he breaks it down. But I'm going to go into the different versions to show you that it's not talking about all the nations, because the Babylonians didn't take down all the nations. The Babylonians took down the Israelites, actually not even the Israelites. The Babylonians took down the kingdom of Judah, which is Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. The northern kingdom was already taken over by the Assyrians. King Shalmaneser V, going to the history. And that was the title. That's not his name. You had a line of Shalmanesers. Shalmaneser IV was the father of Shalmaneser the fifth, and his father started, but his son finished it. All right. So the northern kingdom, which you can say 10 tribes, was already added here. So the only kingdom that was left was Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. So the Babylonians took down Judah, Benjamin, Levi, and the Syrians, which was north of us. So he's going to say, oh, that the Babylonians put yokes of iron on everybody's necks. So let's listen. Matter of fact, you know what I'm going to do? Let me do this. Matter of fact, it's right here. Jeremiah 28. And so it says Nebuchadnezzar, which is Nebuchadnezzar the second king of Babylon. So it was the Babylonians that put yokes of iron on our neck. Now you can't say, well, that's the fulfillment of it. Yes, it is, but it was also fulfilled in chattel slavery. And I'm going to show you that too. Let me go to Deuteronomy 28. Deuteronomy 28 is not one time that this particular nation took over Israel. We suffered the curses under many different nations in different time periods, like 28. Give me a second here. So nations is 10 times. Okay. This is it, 37th verse. Let's see if I'm correct. And thou shalt become an astonishment, a proverb, and a byword among all nations whither the Lord shall lead thee. So at different times we were under different nations that took us down. When you go to Deuteronomy 28 and 50 on down, that's talking about the Roman Empire. It's not talking about America. It's not talking about Babylon. Okay, it says here, Yahweh shall bring a nation against thee from far from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flieth, a nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand, a nation of fierce continents, which will not regard. Now that's talking about the Romans, and it's also talking about the Edomites during the time of chattel slavery. It says, now this is going to show you that 65th verse, that we didn't just go up under one nation. You can't say the whole of the curses of Deuteronomy 28 was fulfilled when the Babylonians took us down. No. It took place under different kingdoms, under different time periods. It says, and among these nations, not talking about one nation, shalt thou find no ease. Under the Babylonians, we found no ease. Under the Syrians, the kingdom of Israel, the northern kingdom, found no ease. Under the king of Moab, we found no ease. Under the Greeks, we found no ease. During the time period of Antiochus Epiphanes, it said, and among these nations, with an S. So the fulfillment of Deuteronomy chapter 28 took place at different times, during different time periods, by different nations. Shalt thou find no ease, nations, neither shall the sole of thy foot have rest, but Yahweh shall give thee there a trembling heart and a failing of eyes and sorrow of mind. Now you can bring it up to date when we was in hardcore slavery, and then when Lincoln passed the instituted the Emancipation Proclamation, that's when Jake was really in fear, because the KKK was established post-slavery, and what they used to do, you had mobs of your Edomites that would hang Jake, so they were in fear for their life. You didn't do that in slavery. Why would you hang your slave? That's a worker. That's like you having a moving company and you have 20 trucks and you decide to smash some trucks up. That's stupid. That's non-productive. Okay, so now let's come back over here to. So watch what this devil gonna say.
Can you read?
Fair use, fair use, fair use.
Jeremiah 28:14.
What's up?
Jeremiah 28:14.
Oh, you read it.
Okay.
You read it.
Want to have a mic? For thus says Yahweh of hosts, the God of Israel, I have put a yoke of iron on the neck of all these nations, that they may serve Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon, and they will serve him, and I have given him every beast of the field. So all the nations had a yoke of iron on their neck, right?
No, all the nations, brother.
That's what it literally says, all the nations, brother.
What version of the Bible do you read?
He said these, he read it right. He said these nations. I didn't even catch that. He said he read it right, and then he started slithering. Let's listen to that again. And it went over these guys' heads. He read it, and then he said something different.
Serve Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon, and they will serve him, and I have given him every beast of the field. So all the nations had a yoke of iron on their neck, right?
No, all the nations, brother.
That's iron on the neck of all these nations. Want to have a mic? For the iron on the neck of all these nations.
So he read it right. He read it right. I didn't catch that. He said, the Most High of Israel, I have put a yoke of iron on the neck of all these nations. So how many nations did the Babylonians put yokes of iron on? When you go and check out the history, it was Palestine, which was the kingdom of Judah, and it was the Syrians, which was north of the land of Israel. Remember, like I said earlier in the video, they didn't put yokes of iron upon the necks of Edom. Edom was working. The Edomites were working with them. They didn't put a yoke of iron upon the necks of Moab or Ammon. They put a yoke of iron upon the necks of the southern kingdom, the kingdom of Judah, which consists of 3 tribes, and the Syrians, when you go into the history. The Babylonians didn't take down the Babylonians didn't put yokes of iron upon the Egyptians, because Egypt wasn't a part of the Babylonian Empire. So you heard what he read, right? He said, the God of Israel, I have put a yoke of iron on the neck of all these nations. So if there's let's say there's people in the park past dusk and they're supposed to be out of there, and the cops come and they say that they caught all of them. They never catch everybody. There's going to be some that escape. All right, so all the nations are talking about the nations that the Babylonians took down, which was 2 nations. Number 1 was the kingdom of Judah, which was not even the whole nation. It was just a kingdom. And Syria, when you go into the history. But the main nation was what? The southern kingdom. So he says all these nations, and watch what this devil says.
That they may serve Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon, and they will serve him, and I have given him every beast of the field. So all the nations had a yoke of iron on their neck.
Did you hear what he just said? He just lied, like the serpent that he is. He said all these nations. He says, so all the nations. So that means all the nations, that the Moabites, the Ammonites, the Egyptians, which is Mizraim, the Ishmaelites, the Japhites, the Assyrians, the northern kingdom. They brought the northern kingdom back from Assyria and put them in chains or yoked them up. So you gotta be. Hey, the scriptures say, "Be wise as a serpent and harmless as a dove." This guy he comes like a serpent, and they didn't pick up on it.
Right?
Not all the nations, man.
That's what it literally says. All the nations, brother.
What version about?
It didn't say that. You read it again. It said all these nations.
How do you read them?
Just turn in Jeremiah 28:14. You'll see I'm right. This is the legacy standard. It's okay if you don't like it.
I'll say it. I'll like it. I don't read that version. When you read it,
yeah, it's okay. Jeremiah 28:14.
I know it.
Jeremiah 28:14. And what it says is that God of Israel put a yoke of iron on all the nations' necks, not just Israel.
There he goes lying again. He just read it, so he forgot that quick. He has a problem with short-term memory. No, he knows exactly. This devil knows exactly what he's doing.
This is Jeremiah 28:14. But thus saith the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, I have put a yoke of iron upon the neck of all these nations, that they may serve Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, and they shall serve him, and I have given him the beasts of the field also.
So who had a yoke of iron on their?
You didn't pick. None of you guys picked up on it. The word, it says all these nations. He said all the nations after you read it the right way. You guys gotta, you gotta use your head for something other than the hat rack, man. And there's 3 of you. That's why the Most High said 2 or 3 witnesses. Because if one guy don't pick it up, the other man or the other 2 of the other men, somebody should have picked it up. These guys have no business being out there on the street.
According to that,
Saying the nations, didn't it? Like obviously,
so you said only. You said only Israel. You said only Israel, right?
These are nations, isn't it? The tribes, isn't it? Like the 12 tribes of Israel. These are the people who went for slavery and ships and half one.
Well, no, according to Abba Bivens, but not according to the Bible.
Not dealing with no other Bibles, man. Not dealing with that.
According to Ariah, but not according to the Bible.
Not dealing with that, man.
All the nations next, not just Israel.
And this is Jeremiah 28:14. But thus saith the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, I have put a yoke of iron upon the neck of all these nations, that they may serve.
And then vocab said all the nations. You guys didn't pick it up. You guys are not ready to be out there on the highways and the byways. And if you're affiliated with the HOI, you're under the authority of Zabak. Zabak should have got on your asses, man. Anyway, that's all I'm gonna say. With that, I'm going to say shalom. On to the next one.